What's up everybody, Devlin here with another Greats of the Gridiron video tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to take an overview look at the play calling Acumen editor. We also call it the PCA. The PCA is the area in which the AI will use to select plays that will be called during games, both simulated and played live on the field. Using the PCA, what you'll be able to do is identify and set exactly when each play is going to get called. And we're going to make these adjustments through the Playbook Editor. So starting up the game, we'll get to the Playbook Editor by clicking on the Coordinator's Office. That's what will bring up the Playbook Editor. We'll go ahead and open a league, and from there we will open a team. I'm opening the team's playbook by double clicking. Once I have a playbook loaded, I can then come to the File menu and click on the Edit PCA menu option. Here we can see that the Play Calling Acumen booklet comes up, and in the upper right hand corner it's indicating to us that there is no play loaded. Nevertheless, from here we can see some of the categories in which settings can be made to identify where and when a play is going to get called. These are the fundamental settings that any coach would use to determine what play to call. And starting from the first page, we have field position. This is obviously going to be the location on the field from which a play is called. We'll get into setting these in just a moment. The second page, we have our yards to go settings, and beneath that we have our hash mark settings. By clicking on the turn page indicator at the bottom corner, we can now move on to the second page. Here we have settings for game time, and we have settings for score situation. Turning the page again, we finally come to the last set, which is going to be the play call frequency and coaching adjustments. We'll also be displaying some usage statistics on this page as well. Furthermore, at the bottom, you can add a summary, and further you can add some notes having to do with your play. Taking a look at the top, in the upper left corner of what would be page 2, we have this play and a folder icon. By clicking the folder icon, we can then select the play that we want to work with. Now that I've clicked the folder icon and I've selected a play, we can see that our settings have now become activated and are showing us some important information about when this play is going to get called. Beginning with the field position, we see that we have several different groups of inputs. These are grouped by down. In other words, during a given down, this is going to identify for us the field position that the play is going to be called. In the first row, we have the down name and a checkbox. The checkbox will activate or deactivate that input for that qualifying check, whether it be the down or quarter. Additionally, when any checkbox is unchecked for whatever quantifier that it is checking, should that play not match, it will not be part of the play selection pool. Therefore, no matter what my settings are for the remainder of the play calling acumen, because first down for field position is unchecked, this play will be filtered out from the pool in its current state. By checking it, we see that we have activated the sliders, which will give us a visual representation of where on the field that play will be selected to call from. So if the field position is outside of the highlighted green area, it will be filtered from any potential play calling during that down. Furthermore, we can also see that it is gauged based off of the offense and defensive side of the field. You need only set this value from this current perception, and it will automatically adjust itself during the second and fourth quarters. For example, a setting such as this will only be called if the ball is between the defense's 10 and defense's 5-yard lines. On the next page, we have our yards to go settings. Again, we can activate it or deactivate it. And again, this is going to cause the play to be completely filtered, regardless as to whether or not you have any others activated. Here we have the setting to make the call between 0 yards to go, i.e. inches, and an unlimited number to have to achieve in order to get first down. By changing this, we can set some of these minimums and maximums. By checking unlimited, we can now set a small yardage range in which we would ever want to possibly make this play have a chance of being called for this play. So in this example, if it's first down and we are between the defense's 10 and 5-yard lines, and we have 5 yards to 7 yards inclusive to go for first down, this play will be selected as a candidate play to be called. By checking the unlimited box, regardless of the shadow value that is visible in the max entry box, this play will be called at a minimum of 5 yards to go to any number of yards beyond that. On the bottom half of the page, we have the play call selections for the hash mark. Just to remind you, if you should deselect, it will filter that play out for that play call. Here, we can click on the specific button that we want to make the change. If it shows as a dark gray, that means it is deselected and it will be filtered out if the play or if the ball position does not match that hash mark. In the example here, we can see that this play would be called exclusively from the left hash mark. On the following page, we have the game time. Here we have the check mark to enable or disable it. And here we have input sliders for min and max. On quarter 1 and quarter 3, we can see that min and max will go between 0 and 15 minutes. We have an image of a stopwatch that indicates the quarter in question. We have an arrow indicator to indicate that this is a countdown setup. In other words, we will be setting a max time to which the amount of time remaining must fall to be less than max and greater than min. For quarter one, that value range is going to be from 0 to 15. For quarter two, that value range is going to be from 2 minutes to 15 minutes. This will allow you to fine-tune your Acumen down to the 2-minute marker. To make an adjustment on this, we simply grab the slider and we pull it until we get the range in which we would want the play to be called. In this case, during first quarter, this play will only be called if the time remaining in the game is between 5 minutes and 23 seconds to 9 minutes and 37 seconds. If it's quarter two, it will be called any time between, rather not called any time between, but a candidate any time between 2 minutes and 15 minutes. And then if you're under the 2-minute warning, it will be a candidate play. For example, only within the first, or rather the last minute of that first half. So we note that our quarterly settings are going across from left to right. Quarter one, quarter two, 2-minute warning for the first half. Quarter three, quarter four, 2-minute warning for the second half. And finally, we have overtime and a 2-minute warning for the overtime quarter. On the next page, we have the score situation. Here, we have our activation checkbox. The way this works is that we're going to take a state of the score at that point in time, and should you have the checkbox for that state selected, it will check and see if the score differential falls within the min-max range. In this case, what we have is a situation where if in the first quarter and we are losing by 2 to 5 points, this play will be a candidate. By unchecking it so that we have 3 unchecked boxes, this play will simply be selected as a candidate play with no further check or criteria. Should the tide be checked, this play will be eligible if the game is tied. And if we have the winning checked, then we will make this play a candidate if the score of winning falls between the given range. In this case, any score of tied to up to 5 points max. By selecting all 3, it will effectively check for all 3 of those states. Moving on to the last set of pages, we have the play call frequency. This gives us our initial game time start percentage of candidacy should the other criteria that have been set match. Again, we have the check marks to quickly remove the plays from candidacy for any purpose. We also have a slider to which we can set some initial value that the coaching adjustments, which we'll get to in just a moment, will be used to adjust. In this case, we're defaulting this play call at a game start play call frequency chance of 50% should it fall into any of the other categories and not be filtered out by lack of field position, game time, score, or any of those other checks. You can set this to any value between 0 and 100, where 0 will effectively virtually pronounce it from being uncalled. However, with the exception being that when you have penalized all your plays to a 0%, or you for some reason have no other play that will fit a criteria, all plays available for that particular game state will be an eligible candidacy. Thus, they will be also rewardable based off of the result. It is therefore possible that should this play, even with a starting position of a 0%, be called during the course of a game, that it gets a bump up in its call frequency based off of coaching adjustments should it prove to be successful. Moving on to the coaching adjustments, this is the portion in which you will be able to tell your playbook calls to be adjusted by certain increments of 5% based off of success, which will be based off of the criteria input. Allow me to explain. Here, the success for an offensive run play, should this be checked, if the yards is gained is greater than or equal to 2 yards, we are calling this play a successful play. If a play is successful and we want to increase the chance that it will be called, we simply indicate as much by incrementing the call frequency. Each single unit of the call frequency will represent a 5% increase in call frequency. If it's a pass play, it will use the same criteria, yards gained, to increase the call frequency. We can also check or completion, meaning we simply need complete the pass, and this will increase the call frequency. Here we have failure options. Should it be a run play and your yards gained is less than a specific number, for example 3, then we will subtract 5% from the call frequency. If it's a passing play and the yards gained is less than, in this case, 5 yards, or if the pass is incomplete, then we will decrease the call frequency by 5%. In this case, if the play has been intercepted, the pass has been intercepted, we will call it a failure and we will decrease the call frequency by 5%. And here simply if it's incomplete, we will decrease the call frequency by 5%. For defensive plays, it works the same way. However, this is using a yards allowed criteria, to which if we, in this case, allow less than, well, if we allow 3 yards or less, we will call that a successful play and increase the call frequency by 5%. If this was a pass play and we allowed 5 yards or less, then we would increase, in this case, also by 5%. Or perhaps we'll do 10%. If the defense for a run play, should this box be checked, allows more than 2 yards, we will remove 10% from its call frequency. And if it's a passing play and it allows more than 5 yards, we will decrease the call frequency by 5%. In order to make an adjustment for a failure or a success, you must have the pass or run for that play type be checked off. If you have a play that is a run play, it will not be checked for a pass success. Therefore, having the run and pass both checked off is not necessary. Finally, we have the notes area where we can simply title up a note and possibly add some notes about the play. In order to save the PCA for our GOTG run offense play, which we have loaded currently, we click the accept button. We get a message saying that the play has been updated. We can hit OK. If we've set up a play and we want to copy that setup to multiple plays, we can use the multiple button. This will bring up a window that will allow us to take a source play indicated by the de-highlighted unselectable play over in the select plays window, and we can move over plays to which we want to match that PCA, and then we can hit apply. If you're watching this and your version is less than version 170, as indicated here in the upper right corner, you will not have this particular window until you update the next time. However, if you've already updated, or this is later on, we have set options window comes up. This will allow us to specify specifically if we only want to copy some portion of those PCA settings, or we can take a shortcut and simply copy all of the settings over at once. By hitting confirm, we have now copied the run offense to, and we can see here indeed that we have our previously set settings. This about wraps up the brief overview for the Pca Editor. Thanks, and see you in the next video.